policy implications. For avoidance of doubt, the Senate and those of us who are in the mediation committee, we still hold the position that that share of RMLF should go to county governments because it's only classes A, B, and C that should be run by the national government. Classes D downwards should be county government responsibility. We also believe that this matter should be prosecuted in the courts so that we set the law, we set the basis. Otherwise, if you're going to withdraw, it will be another behind-the-tent arrangement that is not going to help us solve the problem. But it's going to cause considerable suffering. The devolution donor working group with whom we interact are very frustrated because they have provided resources, some are grants, some are loans, but we have failed to put in the necessary instrument for absorption. And we are getting into the last quarter of the financial year. The National Assembly is on recess, the Senate is going on recess, and it looks like even this money, even if it was to be released, you're going to have absorption challenges. It's a very serious matter that I think the COG, Senate, National Assembly, must find a way of resolving it. We have a lot of fights on things that don't matter. But on this particular one, we need to have some common approach to it because it is not Waiguru's money. It is money for community health promoters. In Kwale was to get 1 billion shillings on mineral royalties. Now, if they don't get that 1 billion, where is that money going to go to? There was a county that was to get 1 billion on water. I think must have been Garissa. My county, Homa Bay, Kisip, was getting almost 1 billion. Contracts have been signed. Projects have stalled because there's no financing. And those things will come before us here. Stalled projects, the Auditor General will talk of lack of value for money. So this is a huge crisis that you guys must go back and find a way for us to address it. It's bigger than the amounts of money that we are looking at here. So we will go with the recommendation of the Auditor General that pursuant to the PFM regulations, the accounting officers should ensure that budgeted receipts are realistic, but also will take the approach given by Senator Sifuna that all other entities must also play their constitutional duty. If it's Treasury to disburse, if it's Parliament to appropriate, they should do so to avoid these funding shortfalls. We will quickly go to the Receiver of Revenue report. And in the Receiver of Revenue report, there was an issue of arrears of revenue. I think that is the one we'll focus on, and then we go to the report on the executive. And arrears of revenue, there's a figure of 600 million, quite close to the other 600 million that you are dealing with in the budget. So, Auditor General, we have already said that in your Receiver of Revenue report, we must also get your findings or your report on the suitability of systems, suitability of controls. Because I think, Kirinyaga, are all your revenue streams automated currently? Governor?
Yes, Chair.
You have had a change of systems not too long ago. When was your system implemented?
Last financial year to make this financial year to be fully automated.
So you had a new system in that financial year?
Yes.
Yeah, so you see, Auditor General, if the county had a new revenue collection system, really you should have given us a report on the transition, on the data migration, on the rollover, and given us the assurance that that decision was lawful and it was a decision that was aimed at efficiency. So I think there was a gap there that we don't have visibility on the systems environment. So we had already discussed that. Please take that into consideration. So let's come to the specific query on statement of arrears of revenue. Auditor General, I think this one just read your finding quickly and then we'll get the Governor's response. We'll now move a bit faster.
Yeah, the first one on the statement of arrears, the finding was that documentary evidence supporting correction of Kenya shillings 2.5 was not provided for audit verification. And then on the same, we had additions for the year of Kenya shillings 15 million, which there were no supporting evidence on their arrears of revenue in the current year of 15.2 million. Then the third issue was the aging analysis of revenue and not been provided in the revenue statements. And then the fourth issue was the correction measures employed by the county and yield insignificant revenue correction of approximately of 1% of the opening balance of revenue.
So, Auditor General, on support of the 2.5 million, has that been provided or it's still outstanding?
That one has been provided and has been confirmed.
So, Annex 2 will provide that breakdown?
Yes.
You are satisfied with that?
Yes, satisfied with that.
Governor, why was that not provided during audit? And I'm sure it was captured in the management letter.
Just to clarify, Chair, it's 2.5, not 25.
2.509 million. Yeah, so why, I mean, if this was available at the time of audit, why was it not provided? Because then it would sound like it was manufactured after the fact. Governor?
Chair, if I could just ask the CEO Revenue to respond to that question.
Thank you, Chair. It's correct that by the close of the audit, we did not complete and compiling of the list, but we were able to do that and submitted data to the auditor. I submit.
So that is Annex 2. What was that relating to? Because I'm seeing a very long list here. All land rates, property. Is this what explains the 2.5?
It's Annex 2, Chair.
Annex 2 sums up to 1.7 million.
Where are we?
1.795. Is this the explanation? Because we are looking at 2.509.
No, Chair, even the CEO, when you ask the question why that had not been done during audit, he did not respond to your question. He just stated.
Yeah. So this 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, could we, what do we make of this? Because you don't bring these things in vain. Ideally, this thing, we had agreed with the Auditor General that we will not be taking new evidence. If something was not provided during audit, when it could be a forgery. So, what do we make of this Annex 2 for us to say that the 2.5 is accounted for?
Where is it?
Chair, with your permission, the annex, as you have observed, gives a total amount of 1.7, which is part now of the arrears, which forms the basis of the 2.5 total.
I have a total of 1.795 at the bottom.
Where is it?
And I'm querying 2.509. So this is simple mathematics.
Sure.
So how relevant is your Annex 2?
There is another attachment with 713, 600, which shows the list of the rents and the tenants.
Yeah, Governor, just 2 minutes ago you said all your revenue streams are automated. I would expect that land rates, property rates, etc. are all automated. So why is your officer saying they are still compiling? Because ideally this should just be pulled from the system.
These are arrears. The 700 are arrears. They were not the current.
I'm talking about the 1.795 because the listing, the description there is land rates, property rates. Is it still your position that you have automated all your streams, including land rates and property rates?
This is from this. What did you want to respond? This is from the system, Chair. Even if you look at the document, it's.
Yes, if it is from the system, why was the Auditor General not given at that time? Your officer says they were still compiling. Why do you need to compile when you are automated?
Thank you, Chair. In the course of combining, we are reconciling so that we can give a verified figure to the auditor.
But, you know, this thing is as easy as election results.
Right.
Now you are behaving like Chebukati, saying that the returns came and you are still reconciling. If these things are in the system, if property rates are paid in the system, when the Auditor General comes, you just click and you get an XLS to support 2.5. And the auditor was there for a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks, and this was not provided. You bring it to the Senate. How sure are we that this piece of paper was not just made somewhere on Kirinyaga Road?
Chair, if I may respond to that question as to why the documents were not submitted on time, what happens with the receiver of revenue at the close of every month, the money collected in various bank accounts is swiped directly to the CRF. At the closure of financial year, there are still some accounts which are collecting, yet that money, because of the deadline of 31st, the money has not been swiped. So when the auditor comes, he only gets the receipt as of that deadline. So, and that is what contributed to the deficit of 15. However, when we got the management letter, by that time the system was fully audited and we were able to provide the additional supporting documents that auditor requested.
Auditor General, are you satisfied with, first of all, when you look at that schedule, are you able to vouch for its authenticity and its source? Because for me, it is not headed, there's no description, it might just be any other piece of paper.
For us, we may not be able to authenticate the documents. But the first one looks like it's generated from the system, which is Kiripe. But the second one is like a manual RISTI, the one for 700,000.
Okay, now, even if you are to put that in abeyance for a moment, the second limb, documentary evidence supporting additions in arrears of 15 million. Has that been provided to you?
That one has not yet provided.
This has not been provided. Governor, 15 million? And you know, this should be a fairly easy exercise because I would be extremely worried if it was expenditure. But this is revenue. And revenue should be very traceable. Because you can't say that you have 15 million as arrears and you don't know what the source is. If it was expenditure, I would be extremely worried. But I'm getting more worried that you cannot trace your revenue. Where is the documentary evidence for the 15.2? Governor, you have referred to Annex 3.
Yes, Chair.
You could tell us, again, it's not headed, it could be just any other thing. You could let us know what Annex 3 is all about.
Land rates and property. So this is from the system, this one is not. So the explanation is the PBL. Yes. See the new response. It's because this is from the system. This is
Governor, you are just explain to us the Annex 2. The 3, sorry. Because additional arrears, that means those are people who owe you money, isn't it? So if you say